Here we are, that's the CTI Education group and their e-learning project. Textbooks versus e-books, that is what we want to test. Whether the student is going to be acceptable and enthusiastic about moving over to e-text instead of making use of the textbook. Now, how will CTI support the e-learning? Through technology. Technology is the way to go, as explained previously, that to give access to students through technology, we must also make it possible for them and support them to be able to access technology by and through a device. So CTI decided they're going to research the market for different devices from different suppliers, and how will they then support this, their students? Surely, with Pearson on their side and Pearson as their partner as well, the best way to do and the right way to do is to upgrade all their campuses for internet connected. The plan is to install more Wi-Fi zones throughout the campuses so that the students can access all of these learning portals as well as the Pearson portal as well. Service providers to deliver on-board service to the clients. Now, who's our clients? Is our students. So we want on-board supply and support to the students. We don't want our students to have to take transport or make use of public transport to go back to a retailer and to hand in their device, or for whatever reason. We need a supplier who can give us backup support, ongoing support to our students. So that is what we are sourcing and looking at this stage. And then to facilitate this support through a subsidy. As explained, that the CTI is researching methods and ways to support the student financially. Whether it's going to be a subsidy of whatever amount or percentage they want to support the student, to make it possible for the student to be able to purchase a device. It has not yet been finalized what the percentage will be, or will it be for a certain group, an add-on, an incentive for the period of studies. That still have to be finalized. There, as I said there, the subsidy percentage not yet confirmed, and of course there's terms and conditions that will apply towards that. One can also alleviate the risk factor that is involved in this. Now, who's our suppliers? CTI facilitates a process to give the access to the learners, and then we have various suppliers. All of these are some of the suppliers that has come to the project and has given their support and commit themselves to support this e-learning project. Surely we are opening up a door for suppliers to be able to accumulate quantities at one certain level, and therefore they all are very interested. Some of them, there were suppliers that weren't interested. But just to look at this on the diagram, or what's his name, to explain that is to say there's a distributor who is one of these, and they deliver a service to CTI. CTI will then facilitate it to their different branches, and that is the way forward. But CTI is not the distributor. CTI is only the facilitators, not the distributor. Hallo, so lief is los. Jij weet ons wat aangaan. And this is just an indication of what Smart Lab came up with, to say we want to support your clients, which is your students, and this is it's not confirmed, but here is an example what we can do for That's all negotiable, all depends on quantity.
Okay, so that you understand what the process is that the students are going to go through in order to get access to their e-texts. And for the purpose of this pilot, the students we've chosen business students and we've chosen IT students. And there are going to be certain books that they get given access to with those business titles and with those IT titles. It's probably going to be about 10 students in business and 10 students in IT because of the amount of devices that we have to use in the pilot. Okay. The point of the pilot very much, of course, is to see how the students use those devices and what they prefer in certain devices over others. We know from a previous pilot that we did last year, and I worked very closely with the CTI students in IT and in business. We knew that from the result of that pilot that going digital and not using paper textbooks was by far the preference. They all wanted that. It was almost a unanimous decision that that is what they wanted. And the reason for it was primarily because they thought that their assessment of it was that, first of all, they didn't have to carry stacks of books. And secondly, if they hadn't prepared for a certain course for that day, they could still access it because they had it on their device. And just because they had left their book at home didn't mean that they couldn't access the content, because of course it was on their tablet. Okay, so that was the resounding evidence that came out of that pilot. So the purpose of this pilot now, we know that this is how the students want to work, but which devices will suit them better. And that's the reason why Ethel took you through the whole spec of all the devices. Okay, so how do they get these books? And it is going to be very much, the students are going to have to rely on themselves to be able to access these books. And the way they do it is they go to www.vitalsource.com and they have to go and click on this Explore VitalSource bookshelf. And once they click on that, it brings up the VitalSource bookshelf, which they then need to download. Now this is a plugin on the computer that has to be there, and once you've downloaded it, it sits within your desktop. And I'll show you what it looks like on my desktop if I just close all these down. There you go, you can see it sitting here.
Oh, so it's an icon on your desktop.
It's an icon on your desktop.
What do we call it?
However, on the device,
yes,
it's an app.
It's an app.
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm going to go through that in a sec.
Okay.
Maybe I should just show you the difference now. So on the device, instead of it being a plug-in bookshelf on your desktop, it is an app which sits there. And the way to get it is to go to the App Store and you search for VitalSource Bookshelf. And it's a free app. It should bring it up. And then you download it. And that is what the students are going to have to do because they are working with devices, they're not working with this. But I'm showing you both so that you have an understanding. Okay, so that will bring it up. There it is sitting there, you download it, and then there it is sitting there. So that is my VitalSource, and I'm going to go back to the bookshelf, and we'll come back to this in a sec. Okay, so once you've got the bookshelf, and I'm going to show it to you on here for now because it is easier to show it to you here. If I open up my bookshelf, and I've got it here, this is what it would look like. So once they've got their bookshelf downloaded, or their app downloaded, they then go to Account. They click on Account. And you see here where it says Redeem Code. They click on Redeem Code. And here it will actually give a box here. And it will say, put in your redemption code. Now, where do they get these codes from? They get these codes from me. So I will be issuing all your students, the relevant students in the pilot, with their respective codes for their respective titles, whether they are IT students or whether they are business students. Okay, they're going to have a selection of codes. They'll have the title and then the code next to it. And this is what the codes look like. Let me show you here. There's 10 codes for management and organizational behavior. And these 10 codes will give you access to those books. So each of these codes I would give to each one of the students that are using
there we go.
Alright, you finished yours.
No, carry on.
I immediately got this feeling which we have already experienced, congestion on the internet. As fantastic as it is, we get congestion.
Yes.
I don't know whether you have had experience, we probably see that now in the pilot study.
Yes. Well, that's part of the reason
can
why we're
be-
doing the pilot study, and that is something that at a management level, the entire CTI group is very seriously looking at, because they realize, of course, that the internet requirements are going to be that much more, so therefore they have to be updated. So that is very much something that is being taken care of. You don't need to worry about that. Okay. So what the actual book, I don't have a book on here at the moment, I've got one on here, and this is exactly what the students are going to be using, so I'm going to pass this around to show you. But just so that I can give you the notifications of what it can do. So within the book, once the student opens up a book, these are the things that they can do. They can highlight different things, they can use these different highlighters. They can also take notes, and all their notes start to populate within this tab, which means that they can print all their notes off at one time. Okay. Now, if they have a VitalSource account on a laptop or on a computer at home, that VitalSource account on the laptop also syncs with your VitalSource account on your device the minute you connect to the internet. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to show you what the book actually looks like when you're on in a device. Okay, so as you can see it looks exactly the same. See here? It's the same. And then it's got your different icons down here that you can do where you've written notes, where your notes are stored. Okay. At the moment I've got these 2 books on my bookshelf, and as many books as those students have. I mean, some students for this pilot may have 3, others may have 1, others may have 2, depending on where they fall in their course. And so their books will start to populate here. This is their bookshelf, right here. Okay, I'm going to click on Accounting for Finance. Here you can see all the different chapters here, so you can go straight to a chapter that you want to go to. And if I click on the top here, it's supposed to be.
Didi, what happens if you don't have, can your experience with your tablet, can you immediately recognize or know that, you know what, yeah, I've got a connectivity problem because something don't want to open?
Yeah, you can actually see, you can see it starts to think. The internet, you know, that little toolbar starts to go, a little circle.
You can see.
Which time they read those things out on the internet? Or it's on the device?
Yes, so I'll talk to you about this now, exactly where it sits. Let me just get to a place on...
They actually download the book on the device?
Okay, I'm going to talk about that in a sec, just a sec. Alright, so when you're in the actual book, this is where you can start to take your notes. But why is it not giving me... Usually when I click up here, it brings down my ability to start taking notes.
Are you on 3G?
Yeah.
Listen.
And doesn't want to...
Then.
No, that's just... So you can make your font as big or as small as you like. I mean, that's an easy thing. I mean, everyone knows that with devices. But...
No, Didi. Oh yeah, everybody with devices.
Yeah.
Not everybody without devices.
It's supposed to be giving me the ability... Yeah, I think okay, so the search bar over here, if I want to search for a keyword, then I put it in here, and it will take me to wherever there's pages where it talks about stocks. And you can see here, along this toolbar here, how far along I am in the book. So you've got point of reference here. You can also navigate all the way through your book by just dragging your finger along here. Or, of course, you can go back to your... no, I did not. There, you can go back to your actual chapters. And you can see here, so I'm in the table of contents at the moment. If I clicked on notes, then all the notes that I had created would start to populate here, just by title. Okay, I'll go back to contents. I'm hoping that it will let me do this in a sec, because I can't show you what I want to tell you about until it does let me do that.